Russia doesn't view itself as in some strategically sound position. Russia views itself as a victim of geopolitical circumstances, and in the post-Soviet era, even more so. Now, I'm not saying they're correct or that's right or that's helpful, but we should at least understand what the mentality is and try to work within that reality. Does anyone really want to go to war with Russia? Better question. Would anyone in the Democrat press right now, which is really just the press, would they want to send their children to go fight on the front lines of Estonia if there was a Russian incident involving Maskarovka? I'm not talking about all the tanks rolling in. I'm saying some separatist movement where they all happen to speak Russian. And some of you know there are, in fact, many people in the Baltic states for whom Russian is their first language. There are whole communities there. Would not be that hard for this to happen. Are we going to get involved in that fight? Now, you can say yes, you can take that position, but we should at least be able to have that discussion without the idiots in the media. And I've realized now the media really is full of people who have decided that it's not worthwhile to do anything useful. It's much better for them to just try to be in the cool kid club all the time, to do whatever they have to do to impress the corporate executives who can sign over paychecks that are far bigger than what they would deserve if they weren't working for legacy media outlets. They don't care how stupid they look on these issues and how much they push us with their belligerence in the reporting closer and closer to an actual conflict with Russia, which would be horrific, by the way. Now, remember, it's President Trump who blew up a couple of hundred Russian paramilitaries in the Syrian desert in order to protect our Kurdish allies, I might add. And Russia let that one go. We don't want to keep having close calls with the Russian state. To say that we should aim for better relations with Russia is so obvious that it shouldn't have to be said. But in our current environment, you hear the narrative. Trump is destroying NATO. Trump is Putin's puppet. Anything that deviates from that, any facts you can present that don't go along with that narrative makes you a bad person. You're an idiot. You don't know anything. This is what the media will tell you. But hold on a second. What bad thing has happened to NATO? Well, name one bad thing that has happened to NATO because of Trump since he became the president. A few NATO bureaucrats, a few European institutionalist types decided that he was a little gruff when he was asking for more money. Okay, guess what? States paid up more money, and they said they would. That was the agreement that we had. NATO is nothing other than an agreement, in fact. So when some states can say, yeah, we'll do this, and then they don't do it, doesn't that undermine the very core of what holds it all together? But there's never any discussion about any of this. That's honest. It's just everything is about bashing Trump. Nothing can be separate from bashing Trump. These people, this is the totalitarian mindset. And you go back, you see the way it was in the Soviet Union. If you were in any way opposing the Soviet state, you were a counter-revolutionary, and therefore you were to be nullified, you were to be destroyed. For the media right now, they have a Soviet mentality about Trump, especially because we're in this re-election cycle now. You're either trying to destroy President Trump or you're evil, you're part of the problem. Every issue, every news story, doesn't matter what it is, even when we're talking about things like conflict, possibly, between nuclear-armed states. They're reckless about this stuff. Putin's puppet. Oh, Russia. More sanctions on Russia. More tough talk against Russia. Really? How far do we really want to push that? Obama didn't push really much at all, by the way. He got real tough with Russia at the end of his presidency. We wouldn't have to deal with it. Didn't want to send those Javelin missiles. Did the whole expulsion of Russian diplomats and added sanctions after he was going to be out of office and wasn't his problem anymore. Real easy to be tough then when you don't have to be the one that looks into the eyes of parents who have lost their child because of the stupidity of much older and allegedly wiser elected officials who think they know what they're doing, but really it's all about them in this whole process. It's not about NATO. It's about defeating Trump. There are people who want power. The narrative of NATO that you are being told every day has been completely misconstrued, distorted, and perverted as a club, yet again, against the President of the United States. And it is not based in reality. Just remember that as you see all of this playing out.